For ages, the voice of God was the compass of creation, guiding nations, kings, and prophets. Then, without warning, it stopped. A silence so absolute fell upon the heavens that even the angels trembled. It wasn't just an absence of sound. It was a presence, a profound stillness that rippled through the cosmos. For the first time, the celestial hosts felt fear. It began subtly, a pause in the eternal hymn of praise. The cherubim and seraphim exchanged uneasy glances, their wings vibrating with a strange new tension. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath. Michael, the archangel, felt it first. His fiery sword of justice suddenly felt heavier. He scanned the void, searching for the familiar radiance of God's voice, but found only emptiness. Gabriel, the messenger, stood with his trumpet silent, his usual pronouncements caught in his throat. This silence wasn't empty. It carried a warning, a shiver of dread that crept through the celestial realms. Down below, mortals felt it too. Time seemed to warp in strange, inexplicable ways. Birds froze in mid-air, rivers hesitated, and the wind fell still. Prophets, who had always been attuned to the whispers of the divine, found only static. Their frantic prayers went unanswered. It was in this vacuum that a forbidden question arose among the angels. What power could silence the Almighty? Then the visions started. In the dreams of the faithful, flashes of a reality unbound by time appeared. Cities burned, not by human hands, but by shadows that moved with chilling intent. Rivers turned to blood, and skies blackened with an unseen force. Yet in all these apocalyptic scenes, God remained unseen, his voice absent. Raphael, the healer, tried to calm the growing panic. "Do not fear the silence," he urged. "Even now, the will of God is present. We must wait, for the truth will be revealed." But Michael, who had faced down rebellions and the abyss itself, was not convinced. "I have never known a silence so absolute," he declared. "This is not absence. It is a warning. The end is approaching, and even we must be ready to witness what has never been seen." And so, the heavenly host prepared. Wings that had soared across galaxies were sharpened. Eyes that had seen the birth of stars now scanned the void for any sign of divine intent. The silence had become a battlefield of anticipation. In the mortal world, chaos reigned. Kings and empires, stripped of their omens, faltered. Priests debated, but their words sounded hollow. Even the most devout felt a deep, gnawing uncertainty. The world had become a mirror of the heavens, silent, waiting, and trembling. The first tremor of judgment struck not with a roar, but a whisper too heavy to bear. A distant city quaked without a natural cause, its people seeing visions of anxious angels. The archangels convened. Michael's voice was grim. "The silence is active," he stated. "It is the herald of a great reckoning. We must prepare for what lies beyond our understanding." Gabriel's usual calm was fractured. The prophecies are stalled. Without guidance, mortals will falter. They cannot withstand what is coming. Uriel, the ever-watchful observer, added, "The end times are not a distant prophecy. They are unfolding now. This silence is the pause before the storm." The weight of responsibility fell heavier than ever. Without the voice of God, all certainty had vanished. Their authority, their knowledge, all of it was suspended. As if in response, a rebellion began to stir, not just from the fallen, but from the very fabric of existence. Shadows twisted into impossible shapes, and long-banished creatures stirred in forgotten corners. The silence had awakened something ancient. Michael raised his sword, its light seeming dim in the profound quiet. "We cannot falter," he commanded. "We must act, even without his word. Faith will be our guide." The angels nodded, their unity forged in shared unease. The silence was no longer just an absence, it had become a presence, pressing on every corner of creation, demanding attention. And then a whisper emerged, not of sound, but of pure essence, a faint vibration of will. The silence was not eternal, it was a prelude, a herald of a revelation that would shake the foundations of heaven and earth. This subtle vibration rippled through the cosmos, touching every soul, every angel. The darkness itself recoiled from it. Michael moved through the celestial halls, his sword reflecting a new, faint shimmer. "The time is near," he announced to the trembling seraphim. "Prepare your ranks. Faith will be our shield." Gabriel, his trumpet still silent, saw visions of the message he must deliver. "Mortals are fragile," he worried. "Without guidance, they will despair." Uriel's voice was grave, but steady. "The silence is a crucible, designed to purify, not destroy. What comes is not just wrath, but revelation, a truth the universe is not yet ready for." On Earth, the silence manifested in terrifying ways. Oceans paused mid-wave, and shadows of forgotten creatures danced across the land. Yet even in the chaos, a new purpose began to emerge. Celestial energies aligned in unseen patterns. Stars moved into a grand convergence. The visions intensified, showing not just destruction but preparation. Raphael understood. Every trial is a lesson, he said. Every fear is a call to awaken. The angels realized the silence was a test for them as much as for humanity. As chaos grew, Gabriel finally released his message, not with his voice, but as a spiritual imprint on the hearts of the faithful. "Fear not," the essence conveyed. "God is not gone. The silence is preparation. The voice may be still, but the will is alive." Even as this hope spread, shadows from the abyss tried to exploit the lingering fear, but the angels, now guided by a renewed sense of purpose, countered every move. The culmination was near. Then it happened. The voice returned, not as a sound, but as an overwhelming presence of pure authority, wisdom, and love. The heavens shimmered with divine light. Angels fell to their knees, weeping with relief and awe. On earth, humanity felt a profound awakening in their souls. The silence had not been a punishment, but a divine lesson, a crucible that had tested the very limits of faith, courage, and trust. The universe had been tempered in that stillness, emerging stronger and more aligned with its ultimate purpose. The silence had ended. The revelation had begun. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content that explores the deeper mysteries of our existence.